Hello and welcome back to Beach Talks with the Barber Coach. So this is my view for today. We're still in New Quay, but we're on the other side of New Quay today, on a longer beach. I still haven't got my dog with me personally, but my wife's walking him back here somewhere. So hopefully he won't be distracting me so much and I can give you my undivided attention. If you want to know more about what these beach talks are, please go back and visit episode 1 and 2, because I sort of go into more depth and detail on why I'm doing these talks and the goal that I have to try and help people through discussing topics of the business world, barbering industry, and we're going to be covering some mental health topics as well coming up in the near future. So today I'm going to be discussing competitions, barber competitions, the pros and cons of competing as a barber in the industry. But if you want to know more, you can sign up to the Barber Coach TV. That's my online coaching platform, and I've got a catalogue of different educational videos, tutorials, cutting tutorials, presentation, advice tutorials, so many different categories. And I've got a team of very talented, award-winning educators that do it with me, and they also create videos and tutorials for you guys to try and help you be the best you can possibly be. So a little bit about the Barber Coach TV. It's not like your typical online course platform where you can get a certificate and learn a bit of barbering. Yes, I've got categories on there for beginners. You can, when you're starting off, you can use the Barber Coach TV to support you and help you develop, but it's not going to give you a qualification. My goal with the Barber Coach TV is to be a manual, like a manual that you can use ongoing, that every time you're stuck or you need a bit of support or you need a bit of motivation or just a refresher on a certain subject or topic, you can then go back to the Barber Coach TV and use that then to support you and bring you on. If you are a newer barber, then there's loads of different videos on there that you can watch to help teach you new skills, new methods, different ways of doing things, faster ways of doing things. But I'm more of a traditional barber originally. I've been doing it for a very long time, so I was barbering before it was popular. And so I'd like to think that I incorporate a lot of traditional values with the new modern movement in the barbering world. So you have got a lot of really talented educators today that do a lot more, what I would probably call your hairdresser barbering, where they're doing a heck of a lot more sections. They're focusing a lot on, sectioning bits up, putting them in clips, and then sectioning other bits up and sectioning them off and all these things, and we do teach that on there, and we do have barbers on there that do focus on that. But with me coming from a more traditional background, I display methods and techniques that can still develop the same results without having to do all the sections and things. I try and focus more on getting barbers to develop more freestyle, free-flowing, natural ability methods and skills, rather than having to focus on guideline after guideline after guideline, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what suits you and you feel that you'd prefer to have a more of a guideline structure when you're cutting, then we have those tutorials as well. But my personal education on there, I like to focus more on your sort of no frills, no nonsense, not very fancy, but still delivering what I would like to think is high quality haircuts, but hopefully saving you time and complication, in my opinion, but that's not to say anybody that do the long sections and things like that, they're a high standard of professional, and they're doing very, very well for themselves, so it obviously works. But I think what I'm trying to say is on the Barber Coach TV, you've got a range of everything. So you've got me that comes across with more of the short and sharp methods that sort of potentially skip steps, but get you to the result you're looking for quicker with the same, if not sometimes better results, because you're less restricted with the way I do things, because you don't focus on having to follow guideline and step by step. With me, my focus is more on working with the hair, flowing through the hair, controlling the shape by allowing the hair to move where it wants to move. But anyway, if you want to know more about it, long story short, get on the Barber Coach TV. And the whole point of what I started saying here is, if you want to hear a deeper discussion on competitions, then I have a bigger video on there where I go into it in more depth. I talk a bit about my background and my experience in competitions. We talk about the good, the bad and the ugly on the Barber Coach TV when it comes to competitions. But here for YouTube, for my weekly beach talk, I'm going to break it down, and we're going to focus on, you know, the pros and cons. We're going to discuss the pros and cons, but if you want to go into more depth and detail, then please get on the Barber Coach TV. It's $19.99 a month. There's no contract. There's no pressure. You know, if you decide after a month that you've seen what you need to see and you don't need to see any more, then you're more than welcome to unsubscribe or, you know, cancel your membership. But if you're a YouTube follower, then we like to announce to our supporters and subscribers that if you use the coupon code TBC20, so when you sign up on the Barber Coach TV, you got an option to put a coupon code in. You use TBC20 and then you'll get a 20% discount off your subscriptions. So on to the main topic, competitions and the pros and cons. So, you know, for me, I accidentally fell into it, but if you go on to the Barber Coach TV, you'll hear that story. I'm not going to go into that today. But I didn't initially choose to do competitions. It was something that I was sort of pushed into, but I did well on my first one, so I fell in love. So I had a bug for it. So for me, I was quite a competitive person, so I took part in them just to be competitive, just because I had a taste for bettering myself and being the best I possibly could be. So it wasn't initially, you know, I didn't do it to maybe raise my profile on Instagram. I didn't do it to get more followers. I didn't do it to try and impress anybody. I did it just because I wanted to push myself and test myself, you know. But a lot of those things do come with it. So I'm going to cover the pros first. So the pros of competing, okay? If you win, or at least do well, if you place, or even if you get through to a big national final, you can contact your local papers, your local media companies, and they will happily do articles on you for free. So that is raising your profile in your local area, in your local community. So there's a very high chance there, and that's going to draw more attention to your business and bring more customers through the door. So that's very, very positive, you know. After a while, you build a good clientele, you find the customers then start to brag, like, oh, I go to so-and-so, they're an award-winning barber, that sort of thing, you know. So it's really beneficial in that respect. You get free advertising and things that go with it. So, you know, it's not necessarily just about winning. You know, if you are just competing in a big competition, a national award, then your local papers will want to talk about that as well, because, you know, it's just raising awareness of, you know, the local community doing well and progressing. Now, but it's not just about winning awards. You know, I would say the best benefits I took from competing is inspiration from other barbers, learning new skills and methods I hadn't seen before. You know, it draws the best out of you. You see another angle of barbering. You see barbers that are so artistic, they are so creative, they're using techniques, methods, they're doing hairstyles that you've never seen, you couldn't imagine it. Now, don't get me wrong, with Instagram these days, you probably have seen them. Everyone's doing something creative now on Instagram, but when I started competing, I was seeing styles I just, you know, I couldn't even imagine. But after seeing them and competing against them, it opened up another portal in my, you know, in my artistic sort of brain to try other things that I wouldn't have initially thought about. So it just, you know, just gave me a hunger just to try new stuff and do creative things and more alternative things. It was great. It was an angle to barbering that I didn't even know existed, you know. So that's really positive. And just the motivation that comes with it, and putting yourself under pressure is important. You know, it is stressful, which we'll cover in the negatives bit shortly. But like, diamonds are made under pressure. You know, you put yourself in stressful, high pressure situations, it's only going to make you harder and it's going to make you better. So, you know, don't shy away from stress, don't shy away from challenges, because it will make you a better barber. So competitions are really, really good for that. And networking. You meet some amazing people, you know, you work with some amazing companies. And, excuse me, I'm sniffling away because I've still got a bit of a cold. I don't know if it's a cold or if it's hay fever, but I am conscious that I'm snotty and sniffly, so I do apologise. But it's an organic video. You know, I'm on the beach, it's just me with my cold, just chatting a bit about competitions, so bear with me. So networking, you know, getting to know amazing other experienced barbers that will influence you and inspire you, you know, and you'll be surprised the community you get around you. Like, I've met people in the competition industry that became so supportive of me. They were my mentors, and I'd like to give a shout out to Stoney. Unfortunately, he's passed away now, old Alaz. from Newcastle. What an amazing barber, but what an amazing bloke. And I met him in the competition world, and he could see that I was new to the industry, but he could see my potential and the support he gave me, the mentoring, the advice. Another shout that I want to give is to Jack Pullen as well. Like, you know, he was competing, doing all the competitions that I have done, but he did it before me. You know, I looked up to him on Instagram, he inspired me, and he was approachable, and I'd message him, and I'd ask him for advice. And he was an educator like myself, but he was an educator before myself. I started with him, and he was competing. He was also raising a profile for himself. He was charging people for his one-to-ones, yet I could message him on Instagram and just ask for advice, and he'd still give it. You know, he could have been, you know, oh, sorry mate, this is what I charge for my consultancy fees or whatever, but he wasn't. He was happy to help. And it's just, you meet these sort of people, like, you know, which will help make you the best barber you can be. It brings you into avenues that you wouldn't have imagined. It is good. It is good in that respect. So I've made some amazing friends, some amazing mentors, and, you know, Jack's going to be doing some work with us on the Barber Coach TV, which I'm really, really excited about. It's a shame we can't get Stoney on there. Breaks my heart, that does. What an amazing bloke. But competitions. So we've covered the pros. There's obviously more. Networking, inspiration, motivation, learning new skills, you know, meeting great people, putting yourself under pressure, which allows you to become better, and potentially free advertising, you know, free marketing, raises your profile locally. You know, it will help bring you more customers and improve your business. But the negatives. So for me, I can only talk about me. Everyone's different, you know, people will all deal with them differently, but for me, you know, being so competitive, wanting to win them, you know, for me it wasn't about just taking part. And I do tell people, don't worry about going to win a competition, go to take part, because you get so much out of it. Make your first sort of 4 competitions just about experiences, and then after that, then once you've learnt a lot, then you'll have an angle then that you can approach, and you know what you need to do then to stand out and start competing for the awards. But I'm not that person, you know. Everything I do, I want to win. So, you know, from competition day one, I'm not sleeping the night before. You know, I'm stressing all morning, I'm not eating food. I can't relax until I've finished the cut, you know. There's those things that come with it if you're that sort of person. Costs. A lot of the time you got to pay to enter. So, you know, you can be paying to enter these competitions, then you've got to travel to them, and normally they're London, Manchester, Scotland. You know, there's competitions all over the UK and abroad. But even if you're doing local ones, like my first local one was Cardiff, and I was from Ammanford, so it's still an hour and a half. You still got to take your model there, and they're not going to do it for free, or they might do it for free if they're your mate. But like, I think it's nice to, even if they're doing it for free, it's nice to offer them something, whether it's paying for their food, you know, buying them a few drinks or whatever. So there's costs. If you're working in, you know, if you're competing in London, yes, you could drive down and back on the same day, but I'd like to, you know, stay the night before, so I can hopefully get the feel of the place, get a chance to relax rather than rushing down on the day, then rushing back and things. So the cost of accommodation. Well, then again, if you're taking models with you, you've got to pay for your models. So, you know, these competitions don't provide models. You've got to take your own. So there's those costs. And that can be quite expensive, if, you know, especially if you're not winning competitions. And the truth is, most of the competitions that are still going today don't give prize money. I think there's a few still doing a bit, but some of the ones I did, you know, you'd win £2,000, £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 for certain competitions. So if you won, it was definitely rewarding. Even second places, you'd win £500, and, you know, and thousands of pounds worth of equipment, tools, products, you know, sponsorships, educational deals, contracts. There are some big rewards that go with it. But there could be a lot of outlay first before you win anything, you know, so you've got to really be conscious of that. And you've got to really know what you're doing these competitions for. Are you doing them to try and raise your profile on Instagram, to try and be Insta famous, to try and get followers? Because if so, you're going to be disappointed. You know, yes, when I won, you know, the British Master Barber of the Year, the BBA British Barber of the Year, I gained hundreds of followers on the day. You don't gain tens of thousands, but you do start to raise your profile. So then you keep working on that profile, and you keep trying to display and push your work, try and inspire people, and hopefully in time, and you keep building followers. So it does help to have the awards to kind of give you that sort of title, I suppose. They make people interested, make them something, oh, who's this guy and what's he won? But you're not going to win a competition, come off stage and have 100,000 followers. It doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work, guys. It takes time. I'd even go as far as saying that, like, some of the biggest names in the industry don't compete. And if you are a big name, I'm going to be careful what I say here, and you do compete, then you're more likely to do well, because it'll also bring the brand that's running the competition a lot of attention, you know. You get sponsorships on magazines and that sort of thing. So, you know, it's not a case of you've got to compete in a competition and become a big name on social media. It doesn't work like that. You know, it's basically the other way around, if I'm honest. If you're a big name, there's more of a chance you're going to win. I'm not saying it's corrupt. You know, there are companies that maybe do things they shouldn't do, or potentially give someone a bit more brownie points because of who they are. But, you know, if you're doing it to try and become a big name, then you're going to be let down, unfortunately. Don't do it to try and inspire and impress other people, because actually if you start doing really well for yourself, you might even find that you'll have the opposite effect. You'll find that people are going to envy you, and they're going to not like you, and they're going to try and pick holes in you, and they're going to try and, you know, badmouth you because they think they're better than you and things. You know, it's a competitive world. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Barbering can be quite, you know, volatile, and volatile is the right word, but, you know, not everyone's your friend either. You do meet some amazing friends. I'm not like this, you know, discarding what I've just said. You'll also meet a lot of people that'll be nice to your face and then stab you in the back. So it doesn't always come with you know, roses and flowers and butterflies. You know, it can have some very negative pressures that come with it. But that's fine, because sometimes, you know, bad publicity is as good as good publicity. I'd probably say I gained my most sort of influx of interest from people, and I had a bigger sort of reaction on social media when I didn't win. It caused some controversy, to say the least, and some photos went out on Instagram, and people were like, you know, what, he won it, you didn't win it, you know. I don't want to be a part of that, and maybe I was younger then, I was less experienced, and I was so competitive that I wanted to try and, like, you know, woe is me, I should have won this, look what I've done, look what I've achieved. You know, I probably upset a lot of people as well. I used to be a bit of a plonker when I started off and thought I was better than everyone. But I suppose you need a little bit of that edge to be able to compete and to start winning awards, you know. But that brought me the most traction on social media, because people started, you know, asking what had gone on. You know, if you just win it and it's hands down, you win, or you do really good haircut, everyone's like, oh, good for you, well done, pal, and that's it. But if it's something that you got to stop and go, what, you what, you know, that won it and you didn't, then that sort of draws more attention, you know. So it's not always about winning them. But when I'm talking about drawing attention, we're talking about, like, you know, a couple hundred of likes, a couple hundred of followers. We're not talking about becoming insta famous. So going back to my point, if you're doing competitions because you want to be insta famous, you're going to be let down. Don't do it for that. Do it for yourself. Do it to better yourself. Do it to, you know, raise a profile for yourself locally, which will bring more business through your door. It'll raise your reputation, you know, it'll improve your business turnover, your customers. There'll be more customers coming through the door. That's what you should be doing it for, not for attention on social media. You know, where to be making money off social media, you need to have hundreds of thousands of followers. You know, if you just want to have over 10,000 followers and a blue tick, and you put in all your focus into social media and you're not putting it into your business, then you're going to fail. You need to put your focus into your business, not into your social media. Or sometimes they go hand in hand, but don't focus more on social media over business. Business has to come first. So just don't go doing competitions if you think it's just going to raise your profile for social media. Do it to raise your profile for your local community, so you draw more people through your doors. Do it so you can better yourself, so you can give to your customers a better service. Something now, is there any more negatives? Yeah, you might get let down if you do win a few competitions and you get promised to go and coach in this country, or to go and have this sponsorship, or to become this ambassador, and you think, oh, this is going to be huge, you'll have all these opportunities to travel the world. Sometimes it doesn't pay off. Sometimes you get promised things and it doesn't always materialise, you know. These things happen. So don't get your hopes up. Do them for the right reasons. Compete to better yourself, and if good things come from it, amazing. If they don't, then you're not going to be disappointed, you know. So that's competitions in a nutshell, but I haven't gone into too much detail on some of the areas I'd like to go into, because I've spent that time on the Barber Coach TV for the subscribers. You're more than welcome to join it, which I said at the start. If you do have any questions, you feel free to leave comments in the video or message me on Instagram, the_barber_coach. I'll be more than happy to reply. And if you have a topic you'd like me to discuss, I've already got a list of questions and topics that I've had from quite a few people now, so I'm excited to get into them. But keep sending them in, you know, it keeps inspiring me, then it keeps me focused on doing this to help other people. So yes, I do have an online platform that you pay for, and I'll be there as a consultant for you if you need it. So you'll have my videos, my tutorials, but I'm also approachable. You can email me, you can message me, and I'll be more than happy to mentor you and help you, as well as there are other educators on there who are absolutely unbelievable and award-winning barbers, so you won't be disappointed. But I also like to give back to people who maybe can't afford to invest in themselves, or haven't quite got that maybe drive to spend hours and hours watching videos and things to learn and better themselves, but they wouldn't mind maybe watching a short video on YouTube every now and then. So that's why I'm doing these. I'm doing this to try and reach out to other people who maybe aren't in a position to subscribe to the Barber Coach TV. So I hope that's helped. I hope that's cleared up maybe some of your questions and concerns. That's this week's beach talk finished, and we'll have another one for you next week. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.